I'm Corliss Branch, daughter of Phyllis Lawson. I was her second child born. My brother was the first, Philip Fraser. When she came to Seattle, she didn't know anybody. And she went to the YWCA. She met 5 of her closest friends. They lived together for about 4 months and kept in good touch. I think they were her maid of honor for her wedding. And that's about the same time when she met my dad.
They had a reunion party every year that she was alive. And they would get together and exchange Christmas presents or birthday presents. They were very interested in how each family was growing, because she stayed at the YWCA for 4 years. She was head of the dance program, the dance that was put on once a week.
After she'd lived in Seattle for a couple of years, her family followed her out. I think Lee was in the service and he'd met Grace and they came to Seattle, and her mom and dad brought Patty and they moved to Seattle.
The Plymouth Congregational Church was only about 3 blocks from the YWCA downtown. Phyllis would go over to the social hour to meet people. That's where she met my father. She went up to him and says, "Oh, I'm Phyllis Axness, and who are you?" And my father introduced himself. And then she said, "You know, I bet you just don't know anything about women." And my father's face turned beet red.
They were married at that time, and my brother came along about 1.5 years later, and then I came along about 5 years later.
I remember she used to take me to see Santa Claus. In fact, when I was 4 years old, my mother was pregnant. We went down there in late November, as soon as Santa was put in the window. I asked for a baby sister, because I know both my mother and I wanted a baby sister for me to play with.
And I was brought home as a Christmas present. I was given to my brother Philip. My mother said that just worked out good because my brother babysat me all the time, took me everywhere.
When we had Christmases, well, there were just tons of toys around and lots of presents. It was really quite a magnificent Christmas. I think she was trying to compensate for the fact that she had so many bad memories of her Christmases.
My earliest memories of when we were living in Seattle, I can remember she put us in private school. We each got 1 year in private school. My mom had a job at Washington Co-op. Mother had a lot of memories. She had a lot of friends. She maintained all of her friends from Grand Meadow.
When I was about 13 years old, I remember she took me out into the middle of the carpet and says, "It's time, son, that you started to learn to dance." Every Friday night, she would still go out to a dance, and Papa would go out with her most of those Friday nights, but Papa or no, she'd be going out to that dance because she really liked to fraternize and get out there. She was a non-judgmental person, which is another sort of an interesting characteristic that she had. My mother latched onto all kinds of people, and you didn't have to be anybody special or anything else. If you needed a friend, Phyllis would probably latch onto you. And she had hundreds of friends.